Hi you guys. What I want to share with you today is I told you guys I would come in and teach you some of the techniques for some of the things that I've done on some of these panels. So today's class is going to be on the Christmas Emporium panel, and I'm going to try and get up close where you can see what's inside this window so that you can really see the detail there. Can you see the dimension inside that window? It is just gorgeous. But today what I want to share with you is how I did the embossing onto the plexiglass that's inside the window, or the plastic that's inside the window as the glass. And you can tell that is a sheer piece of glass there. I love the effect because when the light hits it, you also see the shadow that comes in from behind it. So let's get started. Before I do get started, I wanted to show you guys the back of the panels. I didn't do that in the previous video. All of them have been covered to give them a nice finish with the Graphic 45 Christmas Emporium paper. And then this is the Tim Holtz easel die. So on this die, what we've done is when it cuts out like this. And it's just the shape. And you take this piece and you pop it through like this, and then you straddle this has a little divot in the inside of it. You straddle that in between where this ridge is on the circle of the die, and then you pull it down and it locks into place, and that's what holds it up. Now I have it adhered down on tissue tape because we all know from Tim educating us on this, tissue tape does not stick to paper. So I can pull this off, and as you can see, it has not damaged any of my paper underneath. The great thing about this is at the end of the season, all I'm out of is tissue tape. You don't even have to throw it away. You can reuse it. You can put it on something in, you know, like a piece of plastic or something, and then reuse it on another project. These easels can be broke down and reused for next year, stored away with your Christmas stuff, or they can also be used for other projects here. Like I have layouts that I prop up with them before I put them into my scrapbook books. So tissue tape is your friend with this, and it's really cool. Then, or if you wanted to, all of these panels have been designed so that I could come back and punch a hole into the side over here, and I could bind these up and have them as a mini album. And of course, since I haven't damaged anything on the back, I can use this space for adding photographs. So keep that in mind if you decide you want to make one of these. Decide what you want your final piece to the objective is. Love the easel die. I love it. I'm a big fan. So anyway, let's get started with our tutorial because it might be a little lengthy. So what we're going to do is I want to teach you how to heat emboss on the plastic, and I know there are other videos out there that show how to do it, but what I have found is that with the Tim Holtz packaging is a little thicker than some of the other packaging. So what you need to do is, this is like, today I'm going to show you with a piece of this packaging, and this is basically from his die cut from his tattered leaf. So I've cut it apart, and this piece I'm going to put aside and use it on another project. And this piece, I'm going to remove the paper. This piece, just to show you how to cut it, I'm just going to cut inside and cut this little lip off. Now, hanging on to all of this packaging can get a little bit bulky. So this is what I do at the end of doing projects, or at the end, you know, sometimes just as busy work during the week. I will go through all of these and start cutting them down. This is a lot easier to manage than some, you know, hanging on to that big bulky packaging. See, this is a lot easier to store away and hang on to than, you know, and you're basically only throwing away this amount than trying to hold on to the entire bulky piece. So this I'm going to put away. This is what I have. Now, I measured this on the window to see what size I needed, and then I'm going to almost find my center point. Let me see if I can trim this down just a little bit more. And what I did was, say I trimmed this down, and I'm going to find my center point. I knew with the glass panes that, you know, a large bar, you want to leave enough of an overhang to where whenever you put the top piece on, you have something to glue down. So just say I'm going to focus on this piece here in the center. Now I'm not going to use the same stamp I used in this panel because I don't need that. But what I do need is another one of these stamps, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to take my Versamark ink and I'm going to stamp up my ink pad just like I would if I was going to heat emboss. You want to make sure you're using a really thick plastic, to do this. Thin plastics will melt, they'll buckle. You can't use transparency. If you use transparency, it'll buckle up on you. But I'm going to basically just stamp my image in the center of my piece. And all I'm using is the Versamark ink, embossing ink. So I've got it on there, and I don't know if the video is picking it up or not. It's probably hard to see in the video. Then I'm just going to take my ink powder, my embossing powder of choice, and I'm going to just grab up a sheet of scrap paper right here. And I'm just going to put this directly on here just like we always have. I'm going to dump it back in there. Now it's going to stick to it because it's going to stick by static cling. So what you need to do is just kind of pop that off a little bit. And what I'll normally do is take like a paintbrush and just brush it off. Just get it off of there enough to where you got a good image with minimize your scraggly pieces if you can. Now, you don't want to stamp on here with something like, I'm using the Versa ink, and I'm going to use a colored embossing powder simply because if I used the Distress inks, I know they are like a Versa ink, they smear. That's just my personal opinion. And then use clear, like use a color and then use clear. They smear really bad. So I don't like to use them. Let me get this out of the way. Clean up my area a little bit. Now I'm going to take my heat tool and I'm going to get it hot before I start. Then I'm going to move it around and keep it kind of far back. You don't want to get real close because if you do, you're going to cause that to buckle really bad. Keep it moving. Okay, so once your design is done, notice that it buckled up some and it did shrink some, so make sure you allow for that shrinkage. It's really hot. Be careful because plastic does get hot, but see how it's all buckled up? Now here's where the magic starts. We're going to flip it over. We're going to heat it up again. And this time I'm going to take a clear acrylic block and place it on top of it. and then that flattens it back out so that you can adhere it to your window. So there you go. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helped you out some with the first day. And any of these little pieces that are left over, you can just take your fingernail and push them off. They come right off. Don't do it on your design because it could also peel off your design as well. But anyway, that's how you emboss on clear plastic. So thanks for watching.